In a small, quiet village surrounded by green fields and dusty paths, there lived an old lady with silver hair and gentle wrinkles that folded softly around her eyes when she smiled. Her house was small and made of clay, standing near a great banyan tree whose roots touched the earth like protective arms. Every morning she would sweep her little courtyard, sprinkle water to settle the dust, and sit beneath the tree with her back straight and her eyes bright with kindness. No one remembered when she had first come to the village. Some said she was born there. Others said she had arrived long ago as a young bride. Her husband had passed away many years earlier, and she had no children to care for her. Yet she never looked lonely. She never complained about the silence in her home or the emptiness at her dinner mat. Instead, she greeted each day with the same gentle smile, as if life had given her a secret gift that others could not see. The villagers worked hard from sunrise to sunset. The farmers bent over their fields, praying for rain. The carpenters hammered away at doors and cots. Women carried pots of water from the well, balancing them carefully as they walked. Life was not easy. Some years the rain refused to fall and crops withered under the harsh sun. Some years sickness spread quietly and families worried through long nights. Fear and anxiety often hung in the air like unspoken words. Yet whenever someone passed by the banyan tree, they slowed their steps. The old lady would look up and smile as if she had been waiting just for them. One afternoon, when the sky was heavy with heat and even the birds were silent, a young woman named Radha hurried down the dusty path. Her eyes were red from crying, and her dupatta was slipping from her head as she walked. She stopped before the old lady and pressed her palms together, but her hands trembled. "Sit down, my child," the old lady said softly. Radha sank onto the ground and wiped her tears. "I don't know what to do," she whispered. "My husband went to the city months ago to find work. He promised to send money, but we have received nothing. My children are hungry. Every night they ask me when their father will return, and I have no answer." The old lady listened without interrupting. She nodded slowly, her eyes steady and calm. "What do you think will happen?" she asked gently. "I think something terrible has happened," Radha replied. "What if he is ill? What if he cannot find work? What if he forgets us? Every thought in my mind is dark." The old lady reached out and placed her thin hand over Radha's shaking fingers. "When your thoughts are dark, your heart becomes heavy. And when your heart is heavy, even small problems feel impossible." "How can I think of anything good when everything is so uncertain?" Radha asked. The old lady's smile deepened, not with amusement but with understanding. "Let me tell you something," she said. "Once there was a man who believed he had nothing left in the world. He sat by a river and cried because he had no food, no family, no coins in his pocket. An old woman came to him and asked why he was crying. He said, 'I have nothing. My life is empty.' The woman pointed to the flowing river and said, 'You have water to drink. You have trees that give shade. You have the sun that warms your skin. If you look only at what is missing, you will never see what remains.'" Radha listened quietly. The man began to notice the breeze on his face and the sound of birds above him. The old lady continued. He began to feel grateful for small things. Slowly his tears stopped. His life did not change in a single day, but his heart became lighter. And when his heart became lighter, he found strength to work, to speak kindly, to search for opportunity. His life changed because he changed. Radha lowered her eyes. "Will my thinking truly make a difference? If you wake each morning and say, 'Today I will do my best. Today I will trust that good is coming,' your body will move with more strength." The old lady replied. "You will cook with love even if the meal is small. You will comfort your children with hope instead of fear. And when you live with hope, you are ready when good news arrives. Radha sat quietly for a long time. The heat no longer felt so suffocating. A small breeze passed through the banyan leaves, and she felt something shift inside her chest. "I will try," she said at last. "That is enough," the old lady answered. The next morning, Radha woke before sunrise. For a moment, fear tried to enter her thoughts, but she remembered the old lady's voice. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Today will be a good day. I will be strong." She prepared a simple meal of rice and lentils and fed her children with a smile, even though her heart still carried worry. Days passed. Each morning she repeated the same words. She worked in the fields of a neighbor to earn a few coins. She told her children stories of their father's bravery in the city. Slowly, her home felt less like a place of waiting and more like a place of quiet determination. Weeks later, as the sun was setting in a wash of orange and pink, a postman arrived at her door. He held out a letter. Radha's hands trembled as she opened it. Her husband had found work at a construction site. He apologized for the delay and promised that money would be sent soon. Tears streamed down her face, but this time they were not from fear. She ran to the banyan tree and found the old lady sitting as always, her hands folded in her lap. "He has written," Radha cried. "He has found work." The old lady nodded as if she had known all along. "You see," she said softly, "hope keeps the door open." Word of Radha's change spread quietly through the village. People began to notice that she walked differently, spoke differently. When others complained, she listened, but then gently said, "Let us think of what we still have." Soon another villager came to the banyan tree. It was a farmer whose crops had failed. "I have lost everything," he said bitterly. "The land has betrayed me." The old lady looked at him kindly. "Has the land betrayed you, or has the season simply been difficult?" "What difference does it make?" he muttered. "It makes all the difference," she replied. "If you believe the land is your enemy, you will approach it with anger. But if you believe the season was harsh, you will prepare better for the next one." The farmer frowned, but he returned home thoughtful. The following season, he tried new seeds and worked with patience instead of resentment. When his crops grew strong, he remembered her words. One by one, villagers began to sit beneath the banyan tree. A mother worried about her sick child, a young man afraid of failure, an elderly widower who felt alone. To each one, the old lady offered the same simple gift: a change of perspective. She did not promise miracles. She did not claim that pain would disappear. She simply reminded them that their thoughts could either chain them to fear or guide them towards strength. Years passed, and the village slowly transformed. People still faced hardship. Rain still failed at times. Illness still came. But something had changed in the way they responded. Instead of gathering to complain, they gathered to support one another. Instead of expecting disaster, they prepared with faith. Children grew up hearing stories of the woman beneath the banyan tree. They watched how she smiled even when walking with a cane. They noticed how she greeted each person as if they were important. One winter evening, when the air was cool and the sky shimmered with stars, Radha visited her again. Her husband had returned home for a few weeks, and her children were healthy and laughing. "You gave me more than advice," Radha said softly. "You gave me courage." The old lady shook her head. "I only reminded you of what was already inside you." "Why are you always smiling?" Radha asked. The old lady looked up at the stars. "Because I have seen both sorrow and joy," she said quietly. "When my husband passed away, I thought my heart would never heal. I could have chosen bitterness. But I asked myself, do I want my remaining days to be filled with anger or gratitude? I chose gratitude. Every morning since then, I thank the sun for rising. That is why I smile. Rada felt tears in her eyes. You changed the village, she whispered. The old lady laughed softly. No, my dear, the village changed itself. I only smiled. As seasons turned and years folded into one another, the banyan tree grew even larger. Its roots deepened, its branches widened, and beneath it the old lady continued to sit. When she finally grew too weak to walk outside, the villagers came to her door. They brought food, flowers, and stories of their own small victories. They told her how they had faced difficulties with hopeful hearts. They told her how they had taught their children to think good thoughts. One quiet morning, as sunlight filtered through her window, she closed her eyes for the last time. Her face carried the same gentle smile. The village mourned her deeply. They gathered beneath the banyan tree, unsure how to continue without her. Rada stepped forward, her voice trembling but strong. She taught us that hope is a choice, she said. If we wish to honor her, we must keep choosing it. From that day on, whenever someone felt lost or afraid, they would sit beneath the banyan tree and remember her words. They would ask themselves, what do I still have? What can I be grateful for? And slowly, their hearts would grow lighter. Travelers passing through the village often remarked on something unusual. Despite its modest homes and simple fields, the people seemed joyful. They helped one another without hesitation. They spoke with kindness even during hardship. When asked the reason, they would simply smile and gesture toward the banyan tree. Under its vast branches, the memory of a silver-haired woman lived on, not in statues or grand stories, but in the quiet strength of a community that had learned to see light even in shadow. And so, in that small village, a single smile had changed everything.